Why Carroll O'Connor had tension with Rob Reiner on All in the Family set. Hey buddy, let me share the real scoop about why Carroll O'Connor and Rob Reiner sometimes felt a little tense while filming All in the Family. It makes the show even more interesting. Carroll O'Connor was born on August 2nd, 1924, right in Manhattan, New York City. His dad, Edward Joseph O'Connor, was a very respected lawyer, super smart, strict, and he truly believed in getting a good education, helping your community, and always working hard. His mom, Elise Patricia O'Connor, was a kind schoolteacher who loved books and learning, and she taught everyone at home about doing what's right with a clear mind. Together, they built a cozy, lively house full of big conversations, friendly debates, lots of laughs, and feeling really proud of their Irish roots. Carroll grew up with two brothers, and wow, both of them were amazing students who grew up to become doctors. Then a really sad thing happened. His brother Hugh died in a terrible motorcycle accident. That heartbreaking loss stayed deep in Carroll's heart forever and really affected him all his life. His other brother, Robert, became a psychiatrist and set up his own practice in New York City, which showed again how much their family loved smart work and helping others. Carroll was raised in a classic old-fashioned Irish Catholic home, and he always remembered his childhood as mostly happy, free, and full of good times. They lived in a pretty nice, even a bit fancy neighborhood, so Carroll never had to worry about not having enough food, clothes, or toys. Still, from when he was really little, Carroll liked doing things his own way and didn't love following every rule. He actually skipped kindergarten completely and jumped straight into first grade at just 5 years old. That made him ahead in reading and math, but he felt a little out of place with kids his own age. Because of that, going to school often felt more frustrating than exciting for him. He argued with teachers, hated super strict rules, and found it tough to act exactly how grown-ups expected. Those early challenges helped him grow a healthy doubt about big institutions and gave him that brave, stubborn spark that later made his most famous characters so powerful and real. Even though he was very bright and great at expressing himself, teachers and others often called him difficult, and regular school success didn't come easy for many years. Later, Carroll started college at Wake Forest University down in North Carolina. But then World War II broke out and paused everything. Like so many brave young men of his time, he really wanted to serve and protect his country. Unfortunately, his grades weren't perfect, and he had some serious dental problems, so the Naval Air Corps turned him down. That could have stopped someone else, but not Carroll. Instead, he found another way and joined the United States Merchant Marine Academy. As a merchant seaman, he sailed on big ships, learned to stay calm under huge pressure, and saw the real hard work of keeping supplies moving during wartime. Those sea years opened his eyes to a bigger world, made him mentally and physically stronger, and let him really understand and later perfectly copy the way everyday working-class guys talked and acted. When the war finally ended, Carroll went back to studying at the University of Montana in the beautiful town of Missoula. And that's where the most wonderful change happened. There he met Nancy Fields, the special woman who would become his loving wife and best partner for the rest of their lives. Their love was built on total respect, enjoying deep thoughts together, and always being there for each other no matter what. While he was at college, Carroll worked as an editor for the student newspaper. That job really sharpened his writing and showed him how powerful words can be for telling stories and changing people's minds. He also joined the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity, which helped him practice being a leader and feel more comfortable around groups of people. But that restless, adventurous side of Carroll came back again. He decided to leave the University of Montana and traveled all the way to Ireland with his brother Hugh to visit their family's old homeland. Finally, Carroll finished his college studies at University College Dublin. That Irish adventure really shaped who he was and made him fall even more in love with Irish stories, books, music, and ideas about life and politics. Carroll's first real taste of acting happened in 1950, when he started performing in plays both in Dublin and back in New York. Those early theater roles gave him room to try different characters, practice his skills, and grow into a strong, confident stage actor. Then, a super important moment came. Famous actor and director Burgess Meredith spotted Carroll's talent and helped him land a great part in an off-Broadway play called Ulysses. Burgess became Carroll's mentor and good friend, and that connection opened many new doors when Carroll was still working hard to get steady acting jobs. The stage taught him so much: discipline, how to show true emotions, and why you always have to be prepared. Lessons he used beautifully in movies, TV, everything he did later. Carroll slowly moved into television with small but interesting character parts on anthology shows like Sunday Showcase that told new stories every week. Those early TV roles kicked off a very long and successful television career where people soon knew him as the actor you could always trust to be excellent. During the 1960s and the early 1970s, he also appeared in a bunch of big Hollywood movies, usually as army officers, tough bosses, or characters who had complicated feelings and choices. Some of his movies were Lonely Are the Brave, Cleopatra, In Harm's Way, What Did You Do in the War, Daddy, Hawaii, Not With My Wife, You Don't, Warning Shot, Point Blank, The Devil's Brigade, For Love of Ivy, Death of a Gunfighter, Marlowe, Kelly's Heroes, and Doctors' Wives. He wasn't usually the main hero, but every time Carroll was on screen, he made the character feel real, honest, and full of life. Directors and other actors really admired him for that. Even though he did well in films, it was television that made Carroll O'Connor a huge star, loved by millions for years and years. His giant breakthrough came when he played the unforgettable Archie Bunker on All in the Family. Archie was a loud, very opinionated working-class dad whose ideas were often old-school, controversial, and definitely not politically correct. But Carroll gave Archie jokes, soft moments, and real human feelings, turning what could have been just a funny stereotype into a deep, believable person we all understood. The show ran from 1971 to 1979 and was based on a funny British series called Till Death Do Us Part. When producers first asked Carroll to play Archie, he was relaxing in Rome. No one could guess how much this role would change TV and start huge conversations everywhere. Thanks to Archie Bunker, Carroll helped the whole country talk openly about tough topics like race, politics, how men and women should act, and arguments between parents and kids. He changed what comedy on TV could really do. Later, another wonderful chapter happened when Carroll starred as Police Chief Bill Gillespie in the Heat of the Night. That part let everyone see a quieter, very strong, and thoughtful side of his amazing talent. But during those years, Carroll was going through really hard personal times. He was fighting so hard to help his son beat a serious drug addiction that struggle broke his heart every single day. To give his son a chance, Carroll even found a small role for him on the show. Around the same time, Carroll himself had to have heart surgery, so he missed 4 episodes toward the end of the second season. All those difficulties made his acting even more powerful and showed how brave and strong he was both in front of the camera and in real life. Over his whole career, Carroll popped up in tons of different TV series, just to name a few: The Americans, The 11th Hour, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, The Fugitive, The Wild Wild West, Armstrong Circle Theater, The Outer Limits, The Great Adventure, The Man from UNCLE, Dr. Kildare, I Spy, That Girl, and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. All those roles proved he could play almost any kind of person and made him one of the most trusted and talented actors in television history. Carroll didn't just act, he also did important work behind the scenes. He produced 61 full episodes of In the Heat of the Night and even directed 4 of them, helping choose exactly how the show should feel and move. He also directed 9 episodes of Archie Bunker's Place, the show that came after All in the Family. Plus, Carroll wrote several episodes for In the Heat of the Night, Archie Bunker's Place, showing everyone he was a wonderful storyteller who really understood how to write about real people and their feelings. Carroll O'Connor's life, so full of humor, cleverness, and deep meaning on screen, also had the most beautiful love story and one of the saddest personal tragedies that truly shaped the real man we never saw on TV. On July 28, 1951, while living in Dublin, Carroll married his sweetheart, Nancy Fields. She would be his rock-solid partner and love for more than 40 wonderful years. Their marriage wasn't just a small detail in his life. It was the strongest, warmest center of everything he did. They built their life together on loyalty, the same important values, and a love so deep it lasted through fame, hard times, and getting older. Nancy was way more than a wife. She was his very best friend, his protector, and the safe, peaceful place he could always go when life got heavy. In 1962, their joy grew even bigger when they adopted a sweet newborn baby boy and named him Hugh to honor Carroll's lost brother. Little Hugh brought fresh happiness and a big new purpose into their home. Carroll jumped into being a dad with the same passion and care he gave to every acting role. Hugh became the absolute center of their whole world, and Carroll's pride and love for his son shone so bright. But sadly, life can be so unfair and painful sometimes. When Hugh was only 16 years old, doctors discovered he had Hodgkin's lymphoma, a scary cancer that filled Carroll and Nancy with fear and worry. They stayed right beside him every single day through months of treatments, endless waiting, and emotional tiredness. Against all the odds, brave Hugh fought hard and finally beat the cancer. Everyone thought that was the start of a happy new chapter, but the battle left deep, hidden wounds that no one saw at first. In the years after, Hugh began struggling with a terrible drug addiction, a quiet, painful fight that slowly took over, even though his parents loved him so much and tried everything possible to help. In the end, the addiction became too strong, and tragically, Hugh took his own life, a heartbreak that completely shattered Carroll O'Connor forever. The pain left him destroyed, filled with endless sadness, terrible guilt, and a huge, angry feeling that life wasn't fair. This wasn't just a sad story for Carroll. It was raw, personal pain that never really went away. His grief soon turned into strong anger and a burning wish to make someone answer for what happened, especially the person he believed sold the drugs that hurt his son so badly. That awful loss changed Carroll's life in ways nothing else could, and it proved that even fame and success can't protect you from the worst pain a parent can feel. Carroll O'Connor and Rob Reiner had one of the most exciting, powerful, and longest-lasting partnerships in all of American television. But honestly, it wasn't always easy or comfortable. On the show, Archie Bunker and Michael "Meathead" Stivic argued about everything. And that on-screen fighting felt so real, because there was genuine tension between Carroll and Rob behind the scenes too. Later, Carroll said he really respected Rob's talent, but their differences in age and thinking were real, and sometimes made things tricky. The biggest reason was a classic clash of generations and different ways of seeing the world. Carroll was a tough World War II veteran who loved history and books and naturally liked respect, rules, and professional boundaries on set. Rob was more than 20 years younger and came from the bold, liberal, change-the-world youth culture of the late 1960s and early 1970s. Carroll once explained it like this: Rob was very young, very bright, and very sure of what he believed. And he wasn't shy about speaking up or challenging ideas either on camera or during breaks. To Carroll, that strong confidence could sometimes feel like impatience or not enough respect, especially since Carroll carried the heaviest responsibility as the main star. Politics played a huge part too. All in the Family was special exactly because it let different political ideas fight openly. But the actors didn't always leave those strong feelings at the door. Rob was proudly liberal and very active in politics, while Carroll, even though many people confused him with Archie, had more complicated opinions that sometimes leaned a bit conservative. Carroll always made it clear Archie was a character, not my personal beliefs. But he admitted that sometimes Rob's real-life political fire came out during rehearsals. There were times when Rob's political passions were very close to the surface, Carroll said. He admired how smart Rob was, but sometimes those big discussions felt like they pulled focus away from the pure art of acting. They also worked in different ways because of experience. Carroll was a serious, classically trained actor who believed in lots of preparation, discipline, and staying true to the script. He felt comedy, especially the smart, edge-pushing comedy of All in the Family, needed perfect timing and careful control. Rob was still growing as an actor and loved trying new, fresh ideas. Carroll said later, "I was older, I was more set in my ways, and I took the job very seriously, sometimes more seriously than anyone else on the stage." He sometimes thought Rob's relaxed, confident style didn't fully understand how much pressure there was to carry a show that millions of families watched every single week. But here's the beautiful irony. The very same tension that made things hard between them actually made All in the Family so much better and more real. Carroll admitted that working with Rob pushed him to be even better. The conflict between Archie and Meathead worked because it was real, he said, and he loved that Rob never turned Michael into a silly cartoon. Rob pushed back, argued his points, and stood his ground. And that forced Carroll to dig deeper into Archie's funny, mixed-up human side. What could have been simple, silly fighting became a rich, honest look at class differences, politics, and how families really talk and love each other. As the years went on, respect grew between them. Carroll always said the tension was only about work, never personal. Rob was smart, committed, and absolutely right for the role, he said, and he added that Rob truly cared about the show even when they didn't see eye to eye. Later, when Rob grew up, became a famous director and producer, Carroll watched with real pride and saw that the same fire that once caused friction was also what made Rob so creative and successful. Looking back, Carroll saw their relationship as a necessary and healthy collision, not a problem. The tension on set actually mirrored the big cultural arguments happening all over America back then, and All in the Family became legendary because it never tried to hide or soften those rough edges. As Carroll summed it up so perfectly, if we had all agreed with one another, the show wouldn't have meant a thing. What sometimes felt uncomfortable and tense while filming became one of the greatest strengths in television history. Proof that honest differences, when mixed with real talent and heart, can create something truly special and lasting. Carroll O'Connor passed away at age 76 on June 21, 2001, in Culver City, California, from a heart attack caused by complications from diabetes.